the first person that leaves a comment saying this is not a motorcycle is getting punched. Cue the intro. What's up, guys? Sean from Srkcycles. This is my 1970 Honda Trail 90. It is, fact, greatest motorcycle ever made in the history of motorcycles. Let's kind of dive into this thing. First of all, it weighs in at a whopping 180 pounds, making it, I can stick this into my van, or probably stick it in the back of the Cadillac. It's a light bike, it's super fun, pushing out 8 horsepower, and with a claimed top speed of 55 miles an hour. There's no possible way this thing could ever do 55, but we are gonna test that out in a little bit on the test drive. Now, they made this bike from 1966 to 1979, and they did a couple design differences. This is a 70 version, and the ones before this, it has a trailing arm link, different type of suspension, little trailing arm thing. This one's got regular forks. It also has this really cool back rack that you can put stuff on. There's a seat that goes on here, but mine was all torn off, so I took it off. Now, if you look over here, just show you, hold on. Yeah. This has the very unique, very unusual extra gas can. It's an 89cc bike. It's automatic, 4-speed, so you can't stall it out. And neutral is at the very end, and then the 4 speeds are all up. The reason they call it the Trail 90 is because you'll notice, go back over here. Yeah. You'll notice they made this bike in they put the same engine in a couple different bikes. They had the Dream, and they had like the Cafe one. The Trail 90 has the high exhaust because when you're swamping it and you're going through, deep water and stuff, you want the exhaust to be nice and high. It also has the knobby tires. It also has, all right. Oh. Yeah. It also has the 2-speed transmission. It's a little lever down here for high and low. You keep it in high gear if you're gonna do going fast. But if you wanna climb up a tree or tow your buddy with this broken, 6,500 pound van, on a fairly flat road, maybe even downhill, you would put it in low gear. Also showcasing that it was made to go off-road and the durability is the intake. Instead of having an intake right here, it's a snorkel intake that goes up here, and actually goes up in here, and then the intake ports are underneath the cushion of the seat that goes in the back here. I mean, it's definitely made so you can take this thing up to water, I don't know, over 2 feet, almost 2.5 feet, and it's still gonna be fine. Another reason why the Trail 90 has been such a cult classic since it came out is, one, how incredibly durable it is, but also how easy and simple it is. Now, back in the 60s, they were making a lot of bikes, similar to this, but they were 2-strokes. So what you had to have was you had a big oil injection tank sitting on the side that when you'd pour your fuel in there, and then if you had a full tank of gasoline, you'd do 2 pumps of oil injection, then you'd shake the bike up, or sometimes it would oil inject it into the carburetor. But it's just more hassle. This is a 4-stroke engine. You're running off of pump gas. You can get gas anywhere. You don't have to worry about, injecting oil into it. Another awesome thing about this bike is the compact design. Now, anytime you're storing a bicycle or a motorcycle, the issue you get is the whole thing is very skinny. It's I can fit anywhere except for the handlebars. Well, they solved that with this lever over here. I don't know what this is called, but you just pull this lever up. Bam. Now you can put this thing sideways, and now the whole bike is only taken up maybe about 18 inches wide. You can fit 30 of these in the back of your trailer. Now, here's the reason why people love this bike so much, and it's because it's what they compare it to. If you can compare this to, if you're like, oh, it's slow, I'll compare it to a fast bike, then it's just slow. If you're like, oh, it's small, I wanted a big bike, then it's just small. If you compare it to, all these things, it's always gonna lose, other than durability and longevity and stuff like that. But what this bike excels at is when you compare it to what it should be compared to, and that's honestly a bicycle. It's small like a bicycle, it's just as reliable as a bicycle, and it takes as much maintenance as a bicycle. This is from 1970. That makes it almost 50 years old. And it's still running super strong. And every time I hop on this thing, I'm just smiles ear to ear, just like you would on a bicycle. Even more so than a bicycle because it's easy. Let's go take it for a spin. Come on. All right, guys, before we jump on to the test drive, let's do the words of wisdom. Romans 15:13. May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace and believing, so that you will be abound in hope by the power of the Holy Spirit. Let's take this beast, this mechanical monster. Let's see what this thing can do. I'm talking everything. 0 to 60. Turn the key backwards. Now I'm still kind of doing a little bit of fiddling with the carburetor, because sometimes it goes like this, and then you put it on choke. But then when you're full throttle, you got to take it off of choke. So I don't know. Whatever. Now the interesting thing, you would think that, oh, this is an older bike. No. You pulled right out in front of me. You'd think that because it's an older bike, it'd be hard to find parts. Well, the battery, I thought, okay, the battery, it's a goofy 6-volt system. Don't use a 12-volt battery charger. I tried that. I didn't know it was a 12-volt battery. It was a 6-volt battery. That was 12-volt. And I plugged in, and the battery all kind of blew up like a bubble. It was super cool. Oh yeah, I thought, okay, the battery is going to be like at least 50 bucks, right? And it might be hard to get. Well, the battery was like $7. It was so cheap. It was less than 20. It was crazy cheap. And I was pretty pumped about that. 30 miles an hour. If you've ever driven like a moped, you understand that they're slow. And you know, you're topping out like 25, but you're like, man, this is fun, but you wish it was more and you wish it had some gears. This is kind of that. This might be what you were wishing for. You could keep up with everyone else. Now you jump on the highway, you're going super slow. I don't think it'll do 55, but maybe. We're going to try it. We are going to try it. I probably should have made sure these tires were properly inflated. Alright, we're bogging down a little bit. No, we're cresting over the hill. Alright, so this thing is rated to do 100 miles per gallon. Now I know you're like, whoa, that's a lot of miles per gallon. I don't think it's that impressive, considering it weighs 100, less than 200 pounds, and only gets 100 miles to the gallon. Like my diesel van that weighs 6,500 pounds gets 25 miles to the gallon, so it's a quarter less. But weighs literally 100,000 times more. But still, 100 miles to the gallon, that's pretty far. So that makes you second guess that little, you know, I don't know, half-gallon container we have in the back. If you run out of gas, one, hey, that happens. But you have an extra 50 miles to get you to some more gas. I bet this thing will do 50 if I'm going down a hill. Also, when it comes to parts for this thing, they're pretty accessible, they're pretty available, and they're pretty cheap. You could probably build one of these things from like not owning one and just buying all the parts for it off of eBay for maybe like $300 or $3,500. It'd be much better to buy one for 600 bucks and then fix it. But I mean, I was seeing every part of this thing online. And there's also a lot of guys that have a lot of NOS parts, which is what they call new old stock. And there's been times where, like, you know, dealerships shut down, they had parts of this thing sit on the shelf, they end up, someone buys the whole dealership and they're like, hey, we got these brand new parts for a 1969 Trail 90. And the Trail 90 community, like, loves that stuff. And why would you? It's awesome. I wonder if you could put an entire, if you found enough NOS stuff that you could put together a brand new 1970 or 1960, whatever, Trail 90. Now this thing only claims to have 3,800 miles on it. Hold up, we're about to roll over to 3,900 miles exactly. Hold up, this is a big deal, guys. This is it. You know, I'm gonna forget. Whatever. So it'll cruise 35 pretty easily. Up and down hills, you got no problem. I think if I want to get this thing faster, I might have to maybe overinflate these dry rotted tires. Maybe make sure the carb is tuned properly. I think choke is off. Yep, choke is off. That's where we want it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a 0 to 10 mile an hour. Because let's be honest, this thing ain't doing no 60. You know what? I don't think I can't even go the highway minimum. Yikes. I was thinking about jumping on the highway, but whatever, it'd be fine, right? Sure, it'd be fine. First gear, we'll do a rolling start anyway. Go! Let's just go as fast as we can get it. 30 right there. I did 30. Count it. Tuck in low. Tuck in low, Sean. $40. 41. Maybe 42. If you had to ask the question, is this big enough for a man on the highway? I'm gonna go with no. 43. Come on, give me that 45, come on. Let's do this. Yeah, it's about as fast as we could go. I wish there was a gate on the side of the highway. Oh, good. No one's behind me. They've all passed me. My concern was that, like, if I blew a tire and I wrecked, I'd get run over really fast. So my shop is actually right on the other side of the railroad tracks, which is on the other side of that woods. Wish I could cut through it. Oh, hold up. 44. That just happened. So I don't know if I would recommend taking the Trail 90 on a cross-country highway trip, but you could totally do it though. Holy cow, 44. Come on, give me 45, come on. All right, let's do this. Let's get serious. There, 45, done, did it. Hold up. 46. 47. Maybe. I may have hit 48. I may have just beat the Trail 90 fastest top speed world record being driven by a man 50 years after the Trail 90 was initially built. I want to thank all my friends that said that was a stupid thing to do. I want to thank the Trail 90. I think I just broke you. A little bit of smoke coming from the Trail 90. Let's bring it back to the shop. Let's see if in fact I broke the Trail 90. Runs good. So interesting thing. I think this is a combined, no, okay. This is front brake, like normal. This is rear brake, and also the pedal is rear brake. So instead of this being a clutch, this is also rear brake, which comes in pretty handy. Because if you were like, let's say you're coming in, you want to drift it to the left, you just put your foot down. If you drift to the right, you can't put your foot down. You're using your right foot to scrub off speed. This way you can put your foot down and grab that handbrake. It's pretty awesome. This bike is sweet. Alright, let's go to the shop. Let's see what was smoking. And we'll save the Trail 90 for another day of abuse. Nope, everything's good. Must have just been a little bit of oil. Alright guys, that wraps up the video. Remember, it's not what you're riding, but where you're going.